Hey, you guys. Welcome to the Hot as Fuck podcast. I am your host, Samantha Nivens. Super stoked to be with you guys here today. I want to take you guys behind the scenes of my training and my goal to gain 10 pounds of muscle at least. And I want to take you, just give you like the real of like what it looked like before I started working towards this goal, where I was at, the progressions that I've made, what's really working for me, the key things that stand out, and then the challenges that I've had to overcome already just in this is technically week 11 here. Maybe even week 11 here. So, not too long, pretty fresh into my goal, like overall, when we think about going after our goals. So, let's dive in. I want to take you behind the scenes. So, hopefully, my intent with this is that you guys can see like what does it really look like to go after your goals and achieve them, especially for your hot AF body goals, right? When we're like, I knew what I wanted and I found the exact coach to help me get exactly what I wanted. I have a vision, y'all. I have a vision in my mind of what I am going to look like and what I am creating. And I see that vision most days. And I know for you guys, you have a vision of what your hottest fucking body looks like, right? So I want to take you behind the scenes of like the real deal, what that looks like to get that. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, Samantha's always winning when I post my like, oh, I've gone up in my weights and and I see posts from different groups that I'm in around fitness or just, in general, people like, well, I'm doing all these things. Like I'm eating healthy mostly. I'm working out. Why am I not getting results? Well, that could be a really long conversation between you and I. And if you want to get more results, just join the Hot as Fuck membership. And hopefully, when you listen to some of what's working for me and the challenges that I've overcome, you might be able to see yourself in that as you work towards your goals and be like, okay. Like, that's why I'm not getting results. Yeah. So I'm like smiling, like in the best way, like from such a place of love that like I see these posts or even when like clients come to me or like I have a consult call and it's like, you guys, like literally any one of you, if you're like, oh, but that's me, Samantha, like, see, I'm doing these things and I'm not getting results. You could tell me in 10, 15 minutes, probably even less than that, what you're doing. And I would be able to go bing, 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 and like have like a very highly qualified, super valuable fucking list of the things that are missing or the gaps. One, because I've gone through them myself, like you're going to hear on some of these things. And two, because I've just worked with so many clients to be able to like, I could hear your story and I could tell you almost immediately what's missing and what's going on there. Okay. All right. So let's go here. So first and foremost, like, let's be clear what my vision and goal is that I am working towards. So we all are on the same page. So if you haven't heard me say this yet, because it'll probably be a theme, and by the way, I'm going to be doing these. My plan is at least once a month to give you the behind the scenes update on my training goal and on any other goals that I'm working on. So really like taking you, opening the curtains. So stay tuned for more of these. So my goal is that I started November 2nd is like literally the day I started quote unquote working towards this goal, but I'm going to give you a little backdrop of the history of the year prior so you just really know where I was at. So my goal is to gain 10 pounds of muscle. Ideally by my birthday was like what I was like my BHAG, my big hairy audacious goal, my like hot fucking goal was to gain this 10 pounds of muscle by my birthday, which is March 3rd. So we are like 6 weeks away from that. I've already gained 7 pounds. So that's already a great start. So I think I'm going to be able to make it there. And here's the overall goal. Guess what? The overall goal, period, end of story, is like gain a minimum of 10 pounds of muscle in the first year. So you know what? If my gains start to slow down a little bit after these 7 pounds and I mean, it's been roughly a pound a week. So this last week I stayed the same. So in general, it's like, okay, if I miss it by my birthday, I'm not going to go die and stop doing the things. First of all, do you hear this lesson right here? I'm going to keep going. And not only am I going to keep going for that first 10 pounds of muscle, but honestly, I even would like to gain a little bit more than that. I'd like to even put on another 5, maybe 10 pounds of muscle. We'll kind of see, is that the body that I have that I want at, I know it's not going to be 10. I know I'm going to want to put on at least 5 pounds more of muscle, maybe 10 though. So just to give you guys like insight, yes, I have this initial, like, let's fucking go, like, exciting 3-month goal from when I started. So that was, excuse me, 4 months, because I started November, December, January, February, right? So till March 3rd. So basically, I had this little push goal, right, for these 4 months. And regardless, my goal is to gain that 10 pounds of muscle in that first year, come hell or high water. That's like a really realistic and reasonable, and what research will tell you. I'm obviously not average, so I made it a shorter time frame than that, and I'm doing it. But then I also just want to show you how, like, this isn't just some quick fix goal. Like, many people are like, oh, I just like want to lose the weight. Like this pressure and this like, oh, I just want to lose the weight and I just want to have that body right now. And it's like, yeah, obviously I want that too, but I also don't nearly have that like pressure and pull. I'm like, I'm going to fucking get after this, not only for these first 4 months, for this first year, but like I I think it'll take me 2 years total to really create the body that I want and the vision that I have, and I'm so fucking okay with that. I'm like, that's in my mind what I'm saying. I'm like, I've got my little push goal for these 4 months. And then I'm going to keep working that goal and gaining as much muscle as possible, being as lean as possible. That feels good to me, and continue to grow for the next, for 2 years total. And that's probably when I'll like kind of even out to some degree. And then let me just take it one little step further here though, just so you know. I literally though see I'll be turning 40 in March, like this next decade. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be so strong. Like, I see myself in the gym is my vision of this badass, strong, fucking mom babe in the gym, like lifting weights. I've transitioned more so out of like ultra marathons and all the running that I did the last decade of my life in my 30s, which was so much fun and amazing. And now I'm like, my vision is fucking being this thick, strong athlete woman who's in the gym like 4 or 5 days a week lifting weights. Woo! Yeah. So I want to share that with you guys so that for you, when you're thinking about your hot AF body goals, you're not just like, I've got to do this. I've got to lose some weight in like 3 months. That's the fucking vanilla shit we all, you used to try and do back in the day, the old version of you. But the new version of you, the 2.0, the hottest fuck version of you, she is thinking big picture, long-term, spicy, hot. Yeah. She's thinking about not, okay, having that fun little push goal at 3 or 4 months. And then she's got the year goal overall. And she's got the 2 or 3 year out goal. And then she's got the 10-year goal. Or for my king is he, right? You guys have those types of goals. Like that's what you see, like, and that fuels me. That fuels me, and it allows also, because you're going to hear of one of my challenges, it also allows me to kind of take this step back and take a breath and know this is the fucking long game. That I'm not playing with no piddly little like shit of like, just like doing this little thing here and this little thing here and hustling for it. No, this is who I am. I see myself as a lifter. I see myself as this fucking bold, thick, doubling the size of my ass woman, queen. Like I have a whole vision and story that goes with what I'm going for. So if you're just picking these little baby goals, these little like, I don't know, it kind of makes me think of like dating when you're like, I just like these one-off, like one night stand type, whatever, just like, oh, like very low quality type bullshit. And it's like, oh, no, like, like you're committed. When you become a wifey, when you become a husband, you are like so fucking committed, and it's fucking juicy and sexy and hot when you're like, go deeper. Yes. So for you guys, go deeper in your goals from the gate. Have a vision for yourself. Don't just set these little piddly 3-6 month, I gotta be getting, listen, if being in bikini shape fucking lights you up, then let's fucking go. But that's not the end story, right? It's not just like, like diet and exercise for 4 or 6 months and I'll get there. And then you just lose it, right? No, that's not what's happening here. So first and foremost, take that. All right. So that is my goal. You guys know that now, very clear as day. All right. So I just want to give you now backstory, a little just of like where I was prior to this goal. So most of you know, or if you don't, like I have been an ultra runner for over 10 years. So I was very much more running as my main priority, my main thing that I was doing. I was running, I don't know, 4 days a week on average, and lifting. I've always lifted about twice a week. I mean, honestly, give or take for the last 10 years, whether it was like teaching a HIIT class with weights like dumbbells, or if it was the last couple years, I'd say since COVID, even the last few years have been twice a week, like 30 minutes of dumbbell lifting in the gym, and kind of like the same workout. Like I had some slight variations, but no barbells, no accessory type exercises, just like hitting the basics twice a week, 30 minutes was like my strength training. Okay. So that for the last few years. And I just also want to say, like, I've never intentionally had a goal to gain muscle before. I've gained muscle for sure since like high school. Like I'm 20 pounds heavier than I was in high school, but I never intentionally ever have said, I want to grow my ass and I want to gain muscle. This is new for me. Okay. So I also want to share that so you guys know, like, if you have a new goal for you, like, we're all in the same boat here. Like, this is new territory for me. Yes, this is also like a part of what I do with like health and fitness. And I very much have done many transformational things, running ultras and losing the weight after my babies and that. Yeah. So I have a leg up, and I've not intentionally done this before. So yeah, so I'm walking in new water here. So if you guys are walking in new water for your goals, it's okay. Like we're doing this together. Yeah. All right. So that's where I was basically twice a week strength training, 4 times a week running. And so what happened, I remember like a year ago from last November. So 14 months ago now, I remember like the seed being dropped in and planted that I wanted to start lifting and strength training more, like a year, just say a year ago today. And so I did start to initiate that on my own, where there's a program called Booty by Brett, and I really love it actually. Super affordable, super great programming. I mean, just wonderful group of people. So I did that for a couple months, and it kind of got me going towards like the direction I wanted to go, but I wasn't as vested as I was come November, because I actually started to look for a coach in fall and found her and started working with her in November. And we'll get to that. But I was doing it the DIY. Like here's this program, I can follow this program. And so I started to try that and was kind of, got some like, I don't even know if I would say I got some results. I was just like trying to make it more of a habit to start lifting more and doing more barbell work. Let's just say from then until like September, so what is that, 8-9 months, I was able to get more, like my lifting sessions were like 2, maybe 3 times a week if I was lucky. 1 out of 4 weeks was like 3 times a week, and was doing more barbell work because I was following that program. but I wasn't hitting the full workouts. I wasn't always hitting it 3 times a week. And I was still running quite a bit. I was still trying to do both, very much so. So, as you might be seeing, like painting this picture, like, so I was fine with those results, by the way, too. I wasn't gaining any weight or muscle or seeing any change, but I was trying to form more of the habit and switching my mindset around it by myself. And this is where I have a rule personally for me. And if you want to take this for yourself, I highly recommend, and I'm offering it to you guys, that if I'm not getting the results that I want after a certain amount of time of trying it my way, doing it DIY, or even working with a coach, of some kind, but if I'm not getting the results I want, there comes this kind of hell or high water point for me where I'm like, shit or get off the pot. Like either drop this goal and keep doing what you're doing or just farting around, or get fucking serious and get some fucking help because you're not doing it. And I get real with myself. And it's a good thing. It's like a good like slap in the face where we're like, okay, I have tried to do this. We give ourselves the like, you know what? Let me see. Can I eat healthy by myself? Can I do these workouts by myself? Let me try it. Let me try it. Amen. Let's give it a shot. And then when you can't, it's okay to look in the mirror and say, it's not working. It's not working. And I fucking want this. And that is what happened come about September. And maybe end of August, early September, I started looking for coaches. I was like, all right, I need to find myself someone who will program for me and actually be my specific coach. And I was looking for someone super intentional, because you'll hear a part of my story and what's working for me and how I've been getting results is I don't count calories or macros, you guys. Hear that again. This is going to blow some of y'all's minds. I do not count calories or macros. I never have, and I never will. Like, I tried to count calories one time when I worked for Noom, and I was like, all right, well, let me just try this and see this, like, I don't know. And I think I got a day, maybe 3 days deep, and it was really fucking hard. And if there's that much resistance to something, you guys, I want to offer that's not the way for you. Listen, some people, some of y'all, maybe you love your little counting calories and macros and stuff. Amen. If that works for you, go get it. Go get it. I knew for me, I tried it like I think a couple times like that. I've never been able to do the like restrictive, you can't eat certain food groups or can't do these things or keep in these calories. Like, I'm such a fucking rebel, and in my DNA, I just do things different. Somebody says, do it this way. I'm like, yeah, watch me. I'm going to do it that way. You say, go right. I go left. Like, that is a part of me. And I would offer for you guys to play in that playground. That, I don't know, I'm just a rule breaker, and like restriction does not work for me. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't work for most people, as I've been coaching and deprogramming many clients from that mentality, that restrictive, like I can't eat this, or really depriving ourselves. 1,200 calories for a female. Ooh, like not when you have, yeah. Anyway, so that is a part of like, I knew like I did not want to have somebody, my coach, be like, you have to count calories, you have to count macros. Like that was not going to work for me. So I started to keep an eye out, and I found my coach. I'm in a couple other like fitness workout groups, and this woman came up and she had what I wanted. She has like, I can't remember if it's like 44 inches, like just massive glutes, and still lean. And still the builds that I want, because I want to build muscle overall. Like I want my back to be more jacked. I want my upper body. I want a little more pop in my abs, like my legs. Don't get me wrong. I want all over muscle, but I 1,000% want to double the size of my ass. So I found my coach. I reached out to her. We had a great consult call. Totally vibed. She absolutely was like, she asked me, how do you eat? And I was like, intuitively. Like I don't do the calorie count. She's like, that's fine. Okay. We'll just do that. And we'll just focus on adding a little bit more fuel each week, and each week we'll see how it goes. I was like, perfect. Sounds good. That's how I roll. And I already knew. So if you guys don't know this already, when you're trying to gain muscle, you do need to eat more. So like it doesn't just, you can't just like work out and then it just like appears. Like it has to come from substance. So you do need to eat more to gain muscle. Just a side note for you, all you ladies out there who are trying to like deprive, restrict, and eat so little of calories, and yet you are kicking, ass in your workouts, lifting a ton of weights, and you're like, why am I not, my metabolism's down, I don't have any energy, you're not losing any weight. Like, there's a reason for that. We actually do need to fuel our bodies. So I won't go down that rabbit hole today though. So we had a great consult call. I was like, perfect. That sounds good to me. And we went after it. And I want to get into then what's working from that. But so where I started then, so first and foremost, I drew that line in the sand, right? Where I was like, fine, I'm not getting the results I want by myself. I'm going to hire a trainer, a coach, somebody to help me get what I want. Yeah. And then I found that right person for me. I actually didn't end up having any, I was looking and saw other people, but nothing really jived until I found her. Okay. So that was it. Like, and then Hurricane Helene happened at the end of September. So I was supposed to start in October, but October was pretty much a wash for all of us here in Asheville. And so I was like, okay, when I knew the boys and I were getting back at the end of October, I said, great, I'm ready to start. I'm ready to go in November. And so what we started with was 3 times a week weightlifting. And I was still wanting to run a decent amount then. I was still like, hey, I'm still going to run like 3-4 days a week, like 30 miles ish, something like that. And she was like, okay, that's fine. And also, so you guys know, like when you're hybrid training, you absolutely can do both. You just have to, again, fuel your body enough. So like if I was going to run and try to gain muscle, you're starting to see like if you want to gain muscle, you have to eat more food. And if I'm going to run, you will lose that. I'm burning calories when I run, right? I'm burning fuel. So I would have to replenish those. So for me to do both of those meant a pretty substantial, like, calories I was already eating because I was already running those 4 days, but a little bit more calories to gain muscle on top of fueling myself for these runs. So that's where we started at, was 4 days a week of running was what I said. Ended up probably being more like 3. And then 3 days a week of strength training. And I want to share this specifically about like getting into the details here and the nitty gritty. So again, you guys can, see what this really looks like real life in time. And this is what I do with my clients, is like so many times these cookie cutter programs, I actually signed up one. I was going to see about one for my client. Was like, an Instagram person on, she's got a playbook. She's on the Playbook app where it's like, fitness programming, and it's got like programming there. And like the basic level one still had 5 days a week of strength training. And I think it was still like 45 minutes or an hour, like way too much for a beginner. That would have been way too much for me. And I'm not a fucking beginner in the gym by any means. But even if I wasn't running, that's a big leap from like 2 times a week dumbbell strength training, which the reason I did dumbbells, by the way, is because they were super fucking quick. I just go grab them and put them back. When you're working with barbells or even some other machines, you have to set those up, right? Like when you're going to deadlift, it doesn't just come preset with your weights on it. You have to take the time to set it up and then to figure out, okay, well, how much am I going up here? And then change the weights over. Like it takes more time to do the kind of lifting I'm doing now than just dumbbells, So even for like someone like me, I'm going to say pro like me, like an athlete, like I would not be able to just, the beginner strength training program 5 days a week. That would fucking make me fail. And I think that's what happens a lot of the times that I see is like, we're like, oh my God, it's January. I'm going to go 4 days a week, 5 days a week of workouts and 45 or 60 minutes when you've been doing like nothing. Or even if you are doing 3 or 4 days a week and you try to add in another 3 to 4 days a week, that's a lot. That can be a lot, especially if you don't have a fucking coach and you're trying to do this on your own. Yeah. So when I talked with this coach, with my trainer, and we were figuring out like, okay, 3 or 4 days a week. And I was honestly like, as much as I wanted to be like grabby and like hustly for my results to do 4 times, I knew that was unrealistic. I knew that would set myself up for failure. So I was like, all right, I would feel really, I had been doing 2 days a week, right? But only like 30 minutes, maybe an hour some days, maybe 3 times some days. So 3 times a week felt really doable, yet challenging because I was still aiming to do those 4 runs a week, right? Which those I had down, that's what I've been doing fucking forever. So that's a habit, that's a pattern. That was something I enjoy. Like, I'm going to do that hell or high water. It was getting in a full 3 lifts at like an hour, basically. So that's where I started, was 3 lifts a week. And they ended up taking me, it was like an hour. I feel like even a couple getting used to it was almost maybe an hour 15. If it was some single leg exercises in there, or if I had to do this setup and I wasn't as familiar, so it was a little clunkier for me. Yeah. So that was the first, like, getting in the gym essentially 3 days a week to lift. And so take that away for you guys now is if you're trying to do this solo or in general, like, look at that next step. Don't try to just skip and be like, all right, I'm here and here. I am all for the big fucking badass goals, you guys. And if you feel so fucking confident and you're there, amen. But like, I feel that sometimes, and I still need a coach to help me get there. Yeah. So whatever it is, I just also want to offer, if you've tried that and failed, maybe this time you try just like, okay, this still feels like a reach, but fucking doable. Like, let me build this into who I am as a habit, as somebody who lifts before I run, and somebody who lifts 3 times a week, come hell or high water. And then we'll go from there. Okay. So that was like my mindset and where I was at. And I would offer that for you guys too. Instead of trying to like make huge shifts and jumps if you know that hasn't worked for you in the past. Okay. So let's dive into some juice now that, like, okay, that's the training plan, starting the training plan. And so, oh gosh, what was I going to say? I'll just start with like, so what first and foremost helped me and has helped me get the results that I've gotten thus far, which is I've now gained 7 pounds of muscle overall, because I took pictures when I started. I've taken pictures most weeks. I think there's like a couple weeks I forgot, but I'm weighing each week to check my progress. I'm taking pictures. I'm reporting back to my coach, my trainer each week. She checks in on me and asks, how was it? How was your nutrition? How are your workouts? Anything else you're struggling with? Which may also include, like, struggling with, how do I even get these in and make it a habit, which definitely was a thing a couple times. So what's really worked for me, and can you see, like, a year ago when I kind of dibble dabbled and tried my thing, I literally did not gain any weight of like muscle that whole, in literally until I started. And then I like almost immediately started gaining weight. I think I gained like 3 pounds that first couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And it's continued to go up since. So do you see the power of having support, accountability, a plan, like a specific plan for me, what I want? That included, so the nutrition plan wasn't like she doesn't give me meals or, it's just basically the nutrition plan was I need to eat more and focus on protein, essentially. So that's what I started to do. my guess would be 100 calories a day on average. I don't even know, like, because again, I don't count. It's just like really intuitive. My goal was shooting for, and it still is, I shoot for 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. Right now, it's probably, I just started shooting for 50 grams. And that way, if I overshot it, okay, that's fine. Get a little extra in there. And if I just don't want to aim for 30 and then only hit 20, like I know a lot of happens with a lot of my clients, or just people I see out there when they're posting and sharing, and they're like, well, I'm eating 2 eggs. And I'm like, 2 eggs has like 12 grams of protein. Like, okay, maybe you have a piece of peanut butter toast or something and in there, and you're, scrapping up some, that's maybe like 20 grams of protein. Like, we need to be getting 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So 20 grams times 3 meals is like 60 grams of protein a day, you guys. So that's a major thing I see with most women, but in general, even with men, like just not getting enough food and fuel in, and especially not protein. So your girl jacked that shit up right away. I did already start playing in that playground. I started to do like a scoop and a half of protein powder in my shakes instead of just 1 scoop. So that would be like 30 grams or 35 grams of protein just in the protein shake. All right. So anyway, let me go back. So you see how like the coach, and then the other thing with the coach is, we'll dive into the nutrition here, is the app itself. We are working together in an app. So like I've got all my training sessions in there. And so I'm logging, what I'm lifting. Each week I can make like little notes on it too. So that's where, if you guys have seen me post, I'm like, it'll be like, oh, 5 new personal bests. Whether it's from that day or from that last week, I'm seeing literally results, wins from my lifts, like basically every single day for the last 11 weeks, because I'm using this app and I'm logging, and I'm able to literally see. I'm not like, if it was just me, I'm not like, even if I put it on a Google spreadsheet, like I'm not like messing with that shit and figuring it out. And it's not notifying me to say like, Google Sheets like, oh, guess what, Samantha, you're fucking crushing it. But this app allows me to see that I'm crushing it without the coach or trainer even saying anything. It's reporting back to me the data that I'm getting. So that's motivating, right? And then I'm checking in with my coach every single week, right? I'm taking pictures. Like, it's really fucking accountable. You getting the picture there? So that's one thing that has worked really well for me, is working well for me, and is going to continue to work well for me. And then let's dive into the nutrition then. So what's working there is, I already told you guys, intuitive eating. I don't count calories. I don't count macros. And what we talked about was just eating more, and basically more protein. And that's really it. Like, I generally feel like I have a solid, I do eat carbs at every meal. I have dessert most days, to be honest with you. Like, most of like my overall eating didn't necessarily change. It was more just adding more protein to the equation, which gets you about, depending on the protein, probably 150 to 200 some calories a day. So what I started to do, like just real on like, how did that actually look? So I would, and I still am doing this, like I would have a protein shake with my breakfast of like 4, it was 3 eggs for a while. Now I'm doing 4. And when I say that, 2 eggs, 2 full eggs and 2 egg whites. So I was doing 2 full eggs and 1 egg white, and maybe with a piece of sprouted toast with some peanut butter. And then I would have a protein shake with a scoop and a half of protein in addition to that. Right? So do you see, like, a lot of times you might be just having like a meal with some eggs and, a piece of toast or 2. I also find that 2 pieces of toast usually is too much for me. So I just have 1. And then I'm adding the additional 150-ish, 200 calories there with that protein shake. Yeah. So I would do that, like, and I still do that again, like with most meals. If I'm like, okay, I don't know, say I'm having a salad with some leftover, shredded chicken on it or something. Some good protein in that already. And just to be on the safe side, I might just be like, I'm going to toss in this protein shake. I kind of want some chocolate milk anyway. So that's one way I added in more protein. More egg whites was a way I added in more protein. Like I said, now I just upped it from one additional egg white and the 2 eggs to 2 additional egg whites and the eggs. What else did I do? Just like some more volume. So like ground turkey, I'll cook that up, season it with some taco seasoning and put that on my salad. And you guys, again, I'm eyeballing this, right? Where I'm just like, I'm erring towards the side of this bitch is hungry. Like, feed her. Yeah. I'm not like skimpy. I'm not like, oh my God, what if I eat a few too many calories today? I'm like, bitch, let's go. Got a hungry, thick bitch right here. Let's go. Add it on. So, like, that's how I'm putting fuel on my plate, just to also like show you what that looks like intuitively is like chicken too. If it's shredded chicken or something, I'm like, all right, well, what did I normally kind of have? And let me just fucking pile this stuff on, Um, chicken fajitas is a meal I have out at a Mexican restaurant. I love that meal out. It's just basically veggies and chicken. And I eat until this is the other thing with intuitive eating. Like, I eat until I'm satisfied and full. It's not an overeating type thing either. I generally, most of these meals, I'm not feeling like super like, oh, heavy and like, oh God, I'm eating so much that I can't walk. It's just like, it's just like a couple hundred calories a day. It's not that bad. So like, I'm still very much eating also to where I'm full, not overly stuffed or, can't function type of thing. I'm really still listening to my body to be like, okay, I'm full here. I'm just having in more protein than I would normally have. Yeah. So that's really what's working eating wise. Okay, next, let's go into, I know I don't want to make this too long. So I feel like I covered most of that nutrition. By the way, if you guys like are listening to this and you're like, oh, but Samantha, what about this? Or I have a question about this. There's something I forgot, or I'm not like giving, you're like, oh, yeah, anything like that, you just DM me on Instagram and let's have a combo and see what you're like, wait, what about this though? Yeah. Okay. So if there's anything I'm missing here, I'm not trying to, I really want to just like open the doors for you guys so you can get your same results too and see how it works. The other thing I made a note of what's really been working for me is progressive overload. So if you don't know that concept, if you haven't heard that before, essentially just think of it as like you've to grow muscle, to create muscle, or in general, like this, honestly, this concept goes for like any results in life, really. But like, you have to overload it progressively over time. You have to add more resistance, aka more weight, more reps, more volume. Like you can't just you can't just keep lifting the same weight the same amount of times over week to week to week and expect different results. That's not how it works. So if you're stuck in a rut, which I find many people get stuck in the rut, they're doing like the F45, they're doing, Barry's boot camp, they're doing the same group fitness classes they've been doing for years. And if you're like getting the same results, there's a reason why, because most likely you're picking up the same 10-pound weights you've been picking up for fucking months or years, or 15-pound weights you've been picking up, like you're picking up these little baby weights. Whereas progressive overloads mean you are picking up something heavier or doing more reps every single workout. That is progressive overload. So I knew this concept going into looking to gain, and it was made very clear by my trainer and coach, like emphatically, and I have another one of my good girlfriends, she's also strength training, like into lifting, and it was a key point she said when I told her, oh my gosh, I'm going to start lifting more, and she was like, oh, okay, like let me just, and I was like, yeah, tell me. it's like a fact. Is like, if you want to grow muscle, which is what gets you this really sexy, fucking curvy, like toned look that women want, that's muscle. So if you want that, we have to grow muscle. And the way we do that is picking up more or heavier weights. So what that literally means is like, I've literally done this. I want to say literally the last like 10 weeks. It's like from workout number 1. Okay, workout number 1, and my workouts get changed every 4 weeks. So I have the same, 3 workouts for that 1 month block. Like, I don't know, say it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's not set days. It's just 3 workouts was what it was when I started. And so those 3 workouts I have to get in that week. And okay, that first week, you're figuring out what your weights are for that, and that's fine. But then I have 4 sets most of the time for these workouts. So like the first set of that, maybe, I don't know, let's say a bicep curl is, actually, let's use barbell bench press. Let's put that out here. So my first set is generally, I actually just did this, was 60 pounds, or at least that's what it was this past week. So 60 pounds, benched 12 reps, I believe. And then my next, if I do that same, if I feel like I cannot squeak out any, if I feel like I can go up and any little bit, you go up. And you guys, there's these like little baby plates. There are these like 2.5 pound little things. And I use those on the bench press. So it's like, okay, I'm going to put on these little 2.5 pound baby plates on each side. So now I have 65 pounds I'm going to bench press. And I'm going to go for that 10 to 12 reps. And then maybe, that's like, I stayed there 1 more set for my 3rd set because I didn't feel like I could quite go up. I was like, let me crank out another 10. If I feel like I can not get more than 10, I'll stay there sometimes. But then the last set, I went to 70 pounds and I asked for a spot this time. Somebody to make sure the weight doesn't fall straight on me because I'm going to struggle for those last few reps. You asked for a spot. And I ended up getting 11 reps at that 70 pounds. I don't think I would have done that if I didn't have a spotter there. But so progressive overload, do you see? I went from 60 pounds to 65 pounds, 65 pounds, went to 70 pounds. Next week, I promise you, I will probably either start at 60 pounds, or I might even start at 65 and go 65 pounds, 65, 70 pounds, right? Or maybe I go 65, 65, 70, 75. You getting what I'm putting down here? Like literally, I'm going up in my weight or with my reps every single workout. Do you see the progression of the results that you can get when you do that versus if you are in a class, group fitness class or strength training class of any kind, and you're like, you've been picking up the same 15 pounds for the bicep curl or for your lunges, same dumbbells every single time and week. You're going to get the same results. Okay. So I want to put that out there. I'm emphasizing this because these are some huge, huge sticking points I see as major gaps, especially for women, because we are like, there's just like you don't want to get injured. Listen, I don't want to get injured either. So I get that. I'm a like form first kind of a gal. And that's why I asked for a spot that time. And ask for someone to watch your form to make sure you're doing it right. So you're not going to injure yourself. So I understand there's some components to not going up, but more often than not, and I even do this, you guys, like we're like, it's just our minds too, where they're like, I'll just do this same weight. We're like, I can't do that. Like, it's just like, as women, programmed to be small, not take up space, not be big, quote unquote. Like, and you guys, I fucking love it. I love picking up those big weights over in the gym. And you guys see me. It's not like I'm huge over here by any means. And So it's like, yeah, we can lift so much more than we think as women. So get your booties out there and lift some fucking heavy weights. I'm telling you, my girl, she looks lit AF, and she be lifting some twice as much weights as me, and we're the same size. She's just way fucking stronger and even has like more muscle in certain areas, but not anything like, oh, yeah, like she still looks very feminine and fucking hot. So lift some heavy weights. But anyway, I get off. Progressive overload. So I would say the coach within all, the app, all of that, the check-ins, the progressive overload, and eating more, the three major things that stand out to me of what's working. Okay. And then I want to share some of the challenges that have come up during this time together. So you can really see, like, okay, I am human too. We all are when we're going after new big fucking goals that we've never done before. So, the first, okay, and actually, I will say this too. I did the 3 times a week for the first 2 months. And then come the second month, I was starting to be like, I like this. I want to lift more. Oh, and this was the other thing. I started to run less. You guys, I uttered these words the other day where I was like, I actually don't remember the last time I ran. What? Yes, I know I'm still doing my 40K, 40 miles to 40K birthday run for my 40th in March. And that's okay. I'm still going to be totally fine with that. I walk every day. I've still been doing some stairs. Like, it's fine. I'm not worried about that. But just the fact I had to shift, that's just like a challenge. Let's get into that. So now I'm doing 4 times a week going into my 3rd month. Okay. But that's only because I got really fucking good at getting the 3 times in a week. I made that my habit. I made loving lifting more than running the priority, like a non-negotiable. That is, I had like getting these 3 lifts in was a like non-negotiable for me. And I did that. And because I did that, I started to like lifting like that more. And then I asked my coach, I was like, hey, I think I'm ready to go 4 times a week. Right? Versus, do you see if the other way around, if you started at trying to go 4 or 5 days a week and you failed every single week, because let me tell you my challenges next, how shitty that would fucking feel and how down you would feel and how like unaccomplished you would feel. And then you'd be struggling at 2 months in. You'd be like having all kinds of mind drama, shitty thoughts. Instead of me, because I started at 3, I was like, I'm ready for 4. Let's fucking go, All right. So challenges, speaking of that, getting those workouts in 3 times a week for like an hour was a challenge because I was still trying to run 4 times a week. So that's a lot of time working out, or obviously sometimes 2 a days. So I could have some days without a workout. So that was a real challenge that first month, I remember. And then what was also a challenge was the weeks with the boys and I, our schedule, basically every other weekend I have them 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's just me. So I don't have like my partner to be like, oh, hey, will you like watch the kids, or I'm going to go to the gym. I don't have that. So now I can. And what I realize is I'm going to ask their dad to watch the boys, to be with them for a couple hours so I can go get my workout, is what I eventually came to, because it wasn't that I got my workouts in each week. Oh, it was the run that I ended up not getting in. That's what it was. I was not getting the run in on Sunday that I wanted to, or even Saturday, or both days. So my running started to go down to like 3 times a week, and then probably like twice a week, so I could get these lifts in. So do you see there was a trade-off there? I wasn't able to do it all. And now, could I have probably, really stretched myself and done it all? Probably, but it was the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. It was getting colder out. I generally don't like to run a lot in the winter anyway. And this was the most important thing to me. It still is, of my body goals. Like, I want to fucking gain. I have a vision. I want to do this and I'm serious. I'm paying money every month to do this, you know? So it was a challenge to get those 3 times in that first month. Honestly, even the second month, as much as I was ready to go to 4, it's because I was really enjoying it. It's also like I worked out both days this past weekend because that's what I had to do to get it in because I had a busy week with work and the boys, you know? So now I'll have my new challenges at 4 times a week. But so just to show you, like, I was struggling too. Like, it was squeezing it in and figuring that out. And it was also a letting go of like a part of my identity as a runner. Like, I run, 4 times a week. Right? Like I had to start to let go of that piece of my identity, of that thing that I had done and have done for so long. And that is like, and it also feels good for my mental health versus shifting over to the lifting. So that was a major challenge. And that required me to get support, as you heard there, from their dad to ask for help so that I could go get these workouts in at times. I had to get more support. Or figuring out, I remember there was like, I had to do some morning workouts before work even started so that I could get it in like the days that I was going to have a long work day in the boys. It was like, all right, well, then we're going to fucking get to the gym early, which I hadn't done in a long time. Okay. So I think I also just want to point out there, because I have this big vision and goals, like I figured it out. Right? I didn't just leave it for chance like I was doing before when it was just me. I figured it out and I got creative and curious. When the check-ins came each week from my coach and my trainer, it was like, okay, I got it in, but this was like really, I struggled with this. And I was like, okay, well, what could we do different next time? And I was like, okay, these are things I could ask for support. I could go early in the morning on these days. I could do double. I've done back-to-back workouts on a Friday morning where I go lift in the morning for like an hour and a half, basically, now some of these lifts. And then I teach spin class immediately after for 45 minutes. And I've just told my spin class, listen, I might not be at the same pace you guys are today, but because I just did a leg day, but I'm fucking here. But like, that's what I had to do sometimes because I knew I was going to be like with the boys later or have work to do all day the rest of Friday. So it was like, all right, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to get fucking creative and get out of the box of like the rules. We can't do back-to-back workouts, or you can't do leg day and then do this. Fuck. No. You do it. You do it. Okay. All right. Other challenges. So this was like, I remember actually even like when the scale went up, the first 3 pounds was kind of, I feel like, exciting and still like I'd been at that weight just to like, fluctuating, give or take 5 pounds at different times. But I remember, I think it was like December when I started to hit like 5 pounds up. And I was kind of like, oh, like, is this a good thing? Like, am I gaining weight in the right way? Like, to see the scale go up was a little like jarring to me, like a little nervous, little like mindset fuck of like, oh, and I was starting to have a little bit of like holiday treats because this was like December-esque right now. So I just remember that. And how I got over that was I told my coach, I reached out. I didn't just do this alone and in my head and like let that shit, simmer. I told my coach at my check-in and like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. And she confirmed and like, this is what we're doing. This is part of the journey. Soon you're going to feel really fucking excited when you see that number go up. It's working. It's going great. We looked at my pictures to be like, see, like you're still doing great. It's not like you're gaining other places. So that was like reassurance to my brain to be like, no, this is what we are doing. It's working. This is a part of the journey. The scale you wanted to go up, right? So I remember that being a challenge. So just like even for you guys, I'm sure more of you might be trying to lose weight than gain weight, but whatever it is, it's like, just know if you didn't lose the weight that week or whatever, it's like, I got you. I had my freak out too. And it's okay. That's why we have a coach and somebody to get us out of the mind drama so we don't fuck ourselves and then just be like, oh, it's not working. Well, all the things I'm doing aren't working. right? And then we go down the complete opposite way of the results that we were getting. So I actually remember when that happened and I was kind of feeling down on myself. I was like looking at my stomach and being like, I don't know, maybe I actually, and it's, by the way, it's also totally normal to gain some fat along the way on gaining muscle. I'm sure it's happened to me. I'm sure there's a pound or two there, and I'm sure there might be more, and that's okay. Like, that's a part of the process, just like in losing weight, there's plateaus, and, it's not just do, 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 do. Like, same with gaining weight. Like, it's not necessarily all just straight up, or you're going to gain some fat with it, and that's okay. Like, I know that, and I'm okay with that overall, but when you're not used to seeing your body the way it is. So I do remember feeling like well, first of all, I knew I was eating a few too many like sweets and desserties for like a week or two there. And because of the holidays and we were making cookies and just whatever, maybe going out to eat a little bit more. So I did know that. And then it did like feel to me like in my pants or my clothes. I was like, oh, which is just a part of like the journey too, because now I like legitimately feel fucking fabulous and I'm 7 pounds up. And it's just like, yeah, I just need to get new clothes because I'm bigger now and I'm only going to keep getting bigger. So just get some fucking new clothes. And that was like that in between stage when I was like, oh God, am I, like I wasn't quite ready to like get new clothes yet then, or thinking I needed them, but I obviously did. So anyway, what really helped there was talking to my coach about it. And then I did recognize I was eating a few too many sweets in that. So I cut back on those and then got back on track, still gaining, but probably like let go of like that little pound or two of fat that was like extra there. So just know like these are like real things, that happened to me that are going to happen to you. Like in whatever the goal is, like there's going to be these, oh, that's what I wanted to share. So there was like 2 weeks there where I was kind of feeling cruddy and like crap and having shitty thoughts. And I remember then breaking through after that second week and I did clean it up, like the desserties a little bit. I remember being like, like I felt back to myself, like mindset wise and body wise. But I kept doing the things. I kept eating. I kept doing my workouts. I didn't go, well, it's not working. Now I'm just going to stop and float for 2 weeks and not keep doing the things, even though it felt kind of mucky and crappy. So for you guys, you're going to have some mucky and crappy weeks. Keep going. Keep going. I'm sure I will have more of those. So keep going. Even you're going to have mucky, crappy weeks in it. And you're going to get to the other side and you're going to feel fucking fabulous and have the results that you want in the end. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Last little challenge or lesson I have here, and then we'll close it out. I know, because this is a long one. So about 2 months in, maybe not even quite, I think it was like 8 weeks. That's when I started to feel like, okay, I was enjoying it. So I wanted to add a 4th day. And I was also like looking at my pictures, like I think I was probably 5 pounds. I don't know if I was quite 7 pounds up then. And being like, I was starting to get like greedy. I was starting to get greedy for results. Let's just call it what it was. I was like, oh man, because my birthday is coming up in March and I'm 2 months in, only 2 months in, like of my like 4-month mini goal, but like reality to get where I want to go. And like a minimum a year to 2 years. So here I am 2 months in, getting a little greedy for my results, being like, I want them now, like, so I just want to share, like, for you guys too, I know sometimes, you can feel that way. You're like, but I want more and I want that now. And that's how I felt. And so I will say, so I actually did end up reaching out to do a consult with another trainer that I had heard of and know. And like he got a friend like some really fucking baller ass results in 90 days. So I was like, I don't know, like, is that possible for me? Like maybe there is this. Long story short, I won't go too deep into it, but no, it's like essentially like the same formula. Like the only way to get the body I want is I have to build fucking muscle, and I am building muscle. And I do want to do a little mini cut and lean out in February. So for my birthday, I'm like just a teeny little bit more lean to see my muscles. But I'm on track. Essentially was what came from it, was I'm on track. And then literally the next week or two later was like, I'm 7 pounds up and I look fucking like when we did the side-by-side pictures, which my coach did for me, because I was like expressed kind of where I was at, even with her. I was open with that. I wasn't just like hiding how I felt or my results. I was like, okay, this is where I'm at, what do you, and she was like, okay, well, we could do like a mini cut in February, get you like a little bit leaner, and then we'll just keep going on the growth phase. So it's like, okay, fab. That means 3 months of gaining. I'm 7 pounds up. I don't know. Maybe I'll get another pound this week or so. So really fucking good, And and so just to see like your brain is gonna we're all just wired to want these things now. We've been talking about our bodies all day, but that's our body, the relationship, the business, the money, that, right? We all are like, give me this now. I've been working for this for 2 months. And just to see, like, calm it down. And that's the power of having a coach and someone on your side to help actually show you what's going on. Shoot, you can like check in like I did as something else, and it'll be like, oh, actually, that's how it works. That's how it works. So keep focused, keep going after your goals and visions, and don't stray. And you see, every single week I'm communicating with my coach and trainer so that we know we know, and I'm getting fucking results. So, and I'm a really good student because I know this work and I want it and I have this vision. But in general, that's how you compound, right? And create. So just keep going with whatever it is that you're working on. Keep figuring out what's working, what's not working. What do you need to do different? All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was fun. This is fun for me to share. This is a long ass hour podcast of me chatting with you guys. I just really want to take you behind the scenes and all the ways of what this really looks like. So I'll definitely, my plan is to do one once a month for you guys. So you'll hear how month 3 ends, where I land for my gains, and then I'm going to do my mini cut in February to just lean out a tiny bit. I have a photo shoot, and it's just like my 40th birthday coming in March, so why not? And then it's just pure, then I can just go and gain up from there. So yeah, come stay for the ride and the journey. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on IG, DM me, let me know. And just connect there. If you're not on my IG already, my Instagram is at Samantha Nivens. It's just my name, Nivens. And if you guys have heard throughout this whole thing and you stuck here and you're like, oh yes, Samantha, I want some more results too, then come join me in the Hot as Fuck membership. It's 12 months, okay? An entire 12 months of you and me working together on your hot as fuck body, where we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about your workouts. We are your mindset that's going to allow you to even have the vision and continue even with shitty weeks and crappy weeks. And then your life. We just talk about those things that are going on in life, your relationship, kids, your business, whatever it is. I want to create this holistic hot as fuck life for you. So you get all of that in the Hot as Fuck membership. If you're interested, you can also DM me on Instagram. Let's have a conversation about it. You can also just use one of the links below. If you're like, yummy, 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 let's fucking go. I'm ready to get so fucking hot. Over an entire year, you guys, imagine working with me, being able to compound these effects and get your own results like this over an entire year. Are you kidding me? And if you want private mentorship and coaching, I do have one-on-one spots available where it's just you and me deep diving into all the things. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys again soon. Bye.